Hello and welcome to Cryptocurrency Videocast. My name is Claudio and this is the channel Cryptochain, the place where I do cryptocurrency news reviews, interviews and blockchain games reviews. And today I've got two special guests with me. It's actually the first time on my channel that I have two other guests other than a duo. So this is a trio, if you could call it that way. I don't know how dodgy that sounds, but I've got Steve Good and Yuri Cataldo with me from the Coin Chat. Welcome, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us. That's fantastic. I love your opening. Thank you.
Yeah, I feel like I have to rhyme or be left behind.
So for the new people, the people that haven't actually heard about you guys, could you please introduce yourself? Maybe Steve, if you could please start, because you're on the left-hand side of the screen.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, so I'm Steve Good. I'm the host of the Coin Chat and author of the future bestseller called Be Left Behind, which will be out in November of 2019. And Yuri and I have been doing the Coin Chat for the past year and a half or something like that. Yuri, I've lost track of time now, but that's cool.
Yeah.
And yeah, I've been in crypto doing a lot of things, advising companies. I do a lot of growth hacking, digital strategy, and the YouTubing is really just the fun part of things. You know, being out there talking and meeting people. And writing a book was just a whole new experience.
And do you focus on blockchain companies and crypto, or do you work with other types of companies?
Well, I mean, I came out of traditional fintech, so I had spent a lot of time historically in the banking space, working with some of the bigger banks, and I left that world to move into the crypto world. But yes, I still occasionally will work with traditional non-crypto businesses as well, because at the end of the day, you have to pay the bills too.
That's true. That's true. Cool. Thank you for that. Very nice. Very nice. Now, Yuri, you're next.
Sure. Last but not least, I'm also the co-host with Steve on the Coin Chat, where we cover a lot of different projects and interview some very interesting people in the space. Also, again, for the last 18 months ish, have been writing the book with Steve, which comes out in November. And beyond that, I spend a lot of time working with startups. I'm in Boston, so I work a lot with the Boston innovation community and ecosystem, and I spend a lot of time working with startups from seed up kind of areas and helping them with their business strategy and marketing areas.
Wow. Okay, so both of you have something in common in a way. And how come you started Coin Chat?
Well, I mean, a mutual friend of ours actually had said to me, you're in crypto and you seem to know a lot of stuff, and it's a really nascent space, hard to learn. Yeah. Why don't you do a podcast? And I said, who listens to those things? And he said, there are a lot of people. And I said, really? I just, because I'm a video guy, I'm not an auditory guy, so I didn't really get it. But he said, come on, let's try. So our friend David and I did a couple of initial episodes together, and Yuri was in the background coaching David and working with him and helping us as kind of our mentor and guide, because he has his own podcast, which Yuri you can mention separately. And that sort of led to Yuri getting more involved, and then he and I just kept going, and David and I were just sort of experimenting with it, and David went on to other things, which was perfectly fine, and just kept going. It just kind of took its own life. And then we decided to move into from podcasting to the YouTube side, because we wanted to kind of bring the visual experience to people. And also it's nice to see each other and be able to talk and have visual cues and know who's going to say something when, and you get to know a person better in a visual context. It's a lot easier to have, recordings in a visual way. So that's why we moved to YouTube, just because we wanted to branch out and try new things. And that's about it, really.
Definitely. Cool. Thanks for that. Now, for the next thing that I want to ask you both, when did you first get into cryptocurrencies? When did you first hear about them, and when did you first invest or start using them, as John McAfee said, because he's against investing?
So there was so Yuri and I used to belong to an organization which does these kind of quarterly intensives where we dig into different topics. And the one that I went to, where I was first exposed to crypto, was called Finding the Future.
Yeah.
And part of what we talked about in there was about cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, ICOs, creating your own currency. And that was the first time I'd heard about it in terms of it really being a big thing. I'd heard of it once prior to that from a marketing guy who had, it's a story of, it's a long story, but basically he was a marketing guy who had been coaching me, and he'd come to me and said, hey, I've got this, this really interesting thing. If you're, interested in knowing how to like sell stuff, you could sell it with Bitcoin. And I just, it just kind of passed me by. I didn't even understand what he was talking about. And that was back in 2010. So 2010 was the first time I heard about it. 2013 was the second time when I heard about it and thought, this is really interesting. I really need to spend some time and dig in and find out about it. And then I personally got involved with it at the end of 2016.
Wow. Okay. So not
already
too bad.
late.
Not too bad. Before the bull run.
No. Yeah.
So you're absolutely rich now. Like.
Wrecked.
Cool. Thanks for that. Yuri, you're up next. When did you first get in?
Sure. So I had first heard about cryptocurrency and Bitcoin back in 2014 when I owned a bottled water company. And I honestly got interested only as a marketing stunt. So in 2014, my bottled water company was the first one to accept Bitcoin. And I learned that from watching a couple other people who were the first doing that. So it's like, great, this will be fine. And I got a lot of good press from it, but 0 people bought. And I was like, I don't know what to do with any of this stuff. I didn't understand anything. So I was like, that's fine. I don't care. And then so fast forward 2016, I was at a conference and Ned from Steemit spoke unexpectedly. And he talked about Steemit and what was happening in the space. And it's when I first kind of put the dots together of what I had kind of read about in 2014 and then ignored for a couple of years, and then what was actually possible. And so I got really excited and really interested in what Steemit was doing, and was still confused. And that's when I connected more closely with Steve, mostly just so I could leech off his great knowledge, because he was already a couple of years ahead of us. So it was like asking Steve a lot of questions, which then led into us working together on the podcast and everything else. So that's worked out well.
So crypto brought that collaboration together then. That's really good to hear.
Yeah.
Cool. So now we're going to get into the actual topic of the day, which is scams and pumps and dumps. I probably should have said that at the beginning. I don't know how I missed that, but this is what we're going to be talking about.
It's a cliffhanger episode.
Exactly. So the first question that I've got, why are there so many scams in crypto, especially people claiming to be from China, for example, pinging you on Telegram and asking you to help them with withdrawing their cryptocurrency? They basically send you to some link, and then if you click on that, then you need to give them your email address so they can check it up and things like that, and somehow you manage to help them withdraw. That's what they claim to say, that's how it works. What actually happens in reality? Have any of you witnessed something like that or tested it out?
Well, so
I haven't, no.
You asked 2 questions. The first is, why are there so many scams in crypto? And the answer is, I don't think there's so many scams in crypto. I think the question is, why are there so many people who are scammers in general or opportunists? And crypto is just, let's call it a more open kind of environment right now where people can jump in and do things. Yeah. And there's not a lot that stops them from doing it, and things can be hidden through the blockchain. So people are taking advantage of that, or they've tried. Yeah. But the reality is there have always been scammers. I mean, there've been scammers who used to do, call up people's homes one by one and get them to send money to buy shares in something which didn't exist, or to sell you something from a catalog that didn't exist. I got scammed on eBay, 20 some odd years ago, to buy an item, a CD player, that never turned up. It turned out the guy was a scammer, and he just scammed tons of people. So I don't think it's anything to do with crypto. As for your particular example, I mean, there are tons and tons of ways that people will find to creatively ask you to do something, to ask you for your private keys or get access to personal information. And it's not about crypto where that happens either. There's lots and lots of, news programs that you see, like in the evening news, where they talk about how not to be scammed and how not to fall prey to people pretending to be calling you from the telecom company or the gas company or electric company saying, oh, we just want to check your meter, and can you just confirm your name, your address, your phone number? And you're like giving it all away. And the next thing you know, you've given them your credit card details. Yeah. And that's it. I mean, how simple was that as an example? And yet people fall for that every day, even now. So
it's crazy. Yeah.
People will always find a way. It's just, what for me is, why are there so many scammers in the world in general? And, what is it that we've done in this world that creates this need for people to behave this way?
Exactly. No, that's a very good point. And I think with China, I think they're just using that kind of as a weapon because they know the situation in China with crypto being banned there. So they're like, people are gonna fall prey because they're gonna feel sorry for the person, right? Maybe they're trying to use the emotional.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see it being tied to a country at all. I see it from, I mean, broken English, and from reading broken English, I can usually work out nationalities because just from a lot of experience working with a lot of people, that you can see that, if you say certain things a certain way, like would and could, as opposed to will and won't, then you know that they're probably Indian. And if you see them writing something another way, like, like in very simple, like, subject verb type sentences, you can often tell that they're Chinese. And there's all sorts of ticks that people have in terms of language. I don't think I would say that crypto could be tied to a specific nation personally. I see it from all sorts.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Cool. Thank you for that, guys. Now for the next one, please tell us about pumps and dumps and how come they still occur in a bear market, because a lot of people heard about them in the bull market, but how come they're still happening in the bear market when so many people have lost interest in crypto?
Well, they're gonna appear all the time, and they're not just. So what's interesting also is I think you mentioned earlier about the crypto space. So pumps and dumps are not just a crypto phenomenon. They exist in all of the markets. Like, it's just, I think part of why we're seeing this is crypto is, let's say, like the new hot thing right now. So it's the new fancy buzzword in some ways. But just a couple of years ago, pot stocks, like the same kind of thing, like pot stocks, especially the penny stocks. And you still see all of that today, and they're constantly going right now. So it's not necessarily like something it's not anything new. We're just seeing it in a different shape in this new environment.
Yeah.
And what's interesting, I think, is some people maybe haven't been exposed to them in the past in other areas where they were more proficient, and are now stumbling into them now and not realizing what they're stumbling into.
We've also got more social media stuff available to us now, like the likes of a Telegram, which, 5 years ago, you didn't have a Telegram where people would get into these group chats, and all the group chats were unregulated and
right.
They're open now. You can just jump into any group you find and pretty much just join it, spam it, and leave, because it's not controlled properly. They've not set it up the right way to create an environment that's conducive to doing things the right way. So yes, there's lots of pumps and dumps, but as Yuri points out, they've been in the stock market all around the globe. But what you see with crypto is it's now a global community rather than local to specific countries. And we have social media, group-based messenger type platforms that enable us to communicate with people we don't know.
Yeah.
And random people can come in and impersonate anybody they want and then leave. And that's created the environment that allows people to do it, because the companies creating these products have not actually put them together properly. So they've actually been the reason why it's happened, to be fair. We created the environment ourselves to allow people to do it.
Yeah, too much freedom sometimes isn't good, isn't it?
Well, no KYC. I mean, no restrictions, no controls over who can use the platforms. And anybody can, on an iPhone, for example, you can only have one profile in Telegram. Yeah. But on Android, you can have tons. You can have as many profiles as I don't know how many, but the limit is, but, So you're already creating an environment where people are creating fake profiles because they can just switch between them all, which I just find so odd. So why would somebody need 10 different profiles? It just doesn't make sense.
Scam. Exactly.
Well,
cool.
That's what it would seem like. Yes, maybe you have one for personal, one for business, but then why not limit it to 2 or 3? Why leave it like some people have got 6 or 8 and they're switching around and then dumping and creating new ones all the time? I mean, surely there should be mechanisms to verify that, but I think that's where the bigger problem is.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. And there was the other problem with the escrows on trading groups, like for example, coins that were not listed on any exchanges. You'd have people buying them and selling them in an escrow Telegram group or a trading Telegram group, and the escrow would be the trusted person, right, who's normally the admin. But you'd get people who would just ping somebody who was interested in buying or selling, pretending to be the admin, but changing like a letter or a number in the username, and so many just fell victim for that. It's crazy.
Yeah, the L's and the ones are common ones you see switched, and you can't tell the difference between them. Yeah. I mean, this is not just a Telegram problem. I don't want to call out Telegram specifically. I mean, it's happening in Slack. I'm at the point now where I'm sick of Discord because I'm being slammed by scammer and spammer after the next, just pinging me messages. I don't want them to contact me at all. I don't want to be contacted by anybody. I just want to connect to my groups and communicate. But all of these platforms, LinkedIn is filled with fake profiles. And you know what? They make it next to impossible, LinkedIn, to even flag them. It's almost impossible to flag them. They don't have the right mechanism set up for it.
Mad. Okay, so it's across all the social medias pretty much. That's yeah. We only see it more on Telegram
crypto, because it's across the world.
Exactly. We only see it more on Telegram just because of the crypto groups and stuff, because the majority of them are on there.
That's right.
Cool. So now, what's your opinion on signal groups, and do you find them ethical?
Well, there's which kind of signal groups? The ones that are pump and dump ones that are obviously pump and dump, or following somebody like Trader Cobb, who's a professional trader, where you pay him money to join his group, and he basically lets you do like trading with him. Like, what do you call it? Like the following the trader.
Yeah. Even that one. I mean, what do you personally think of that? If both of you could answer, do you think they're ethical? Should they be charging money for these kind of things?
Well, so, I mean, go ahead, Yuri.
Yeah, I was gonna say. So, should he be charging money for it? I mean, he's providing a service, so I'm not against that at all. I mean, he's a trader, and the people who join his group are open and know about what he's up to and his record, and so I'm not against that. That's a business model I'm totally fine with. I'm against the pump and dump groups, especially with people who don't know what they're getting involved in. Yeah. So on that side, I'm definitely against those. But for people who charge for others to follow them that signal wise, I'm totally fine with that. If that's because the people involved in that know what they're getting into. I think that's where a lot of the gray area lies.
So the other thing you're probably seeing from this is the fact that the person that they're following is a professional trader who knows what he's doing, and he's going to be followed anyway, right?
He's going to be public.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the big distinction. If you look at all the pump and dump groups in Telegram, of which it's not hard to find them. Once you find one, they tell you about all the rest. There's one commonality. You will never be able to write to them directly. They're always announcement groups. It's very rare that you can connect with anybody in the groups. You can't see them. You can't, they don't do videos. Nothing's public. Everything's publicly posted, but you don't know who's doing it. You don't know where they are. You don't have their phone number. You don't have their email address. It's all cloak and dagger. And it's rare that you'll find a website for them nowadays as well. If you're talking about following a professional trader who's like making calls and saying, this is the trade I'm going to enter, or, there's some great YouTubers that do that kind of thing where they literally just walk you through and they say, here's the Fibonacci levels, here's the entries, here's the exits, here's the potential levels it's going to go to, but they're doing it in a public way and you can see who they are. It's very different because it's an actual public forum and you can access them and verify them. And many of them, as you said, they provide a service, and for the more exclusive content, then you pay for that service. And CryptoFace is a good example of that, where he's got his whale crew and he's got his market cipher. You've got people like Trader Cobb down in Australia who does the same kind of thing, where he's done an episode with us and he talks about his cradles and he talks about his buy zones and sell zones and where not to play and where to play and all that. But he's got a very legitimate online company and business, and people are paying him a service to basically guide them and educate them. And it's
makes sense.
Very, very different.
Yeah, it's like attending one of Tone Vase's trading sessions pretty much, except it's happening live at whatever point the trader decides to do it. Right, cool.
Yeah, there's many flavors of, online courses and offline stuff. So yeah, absolutely. But the difference is visible versus not visible, and providing you real guidance as opposed to just saying, buy this now and it goes up 10% or 20% and, pump. And it's a pump because it's so obvious.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now to actually reiterate that now, what do you think people could do to protect themselves? And maybe give Telegram as an example or some other social media, but I would say Telegram because it's more commonly used for crypto.
They can protect themselves. So I think one of the commonalities with all of this is we all want to think and believe that we got in on this amazing deal at the ground floor. And I think that's where a lot of these bigger scams kind of pry on our innate need to want to win and be smart and to get in on the secret thing on the ground floor. And I think that's where a lot of these come from. It's like, I feel like it's the same adage in the trading world, in the traditional markets, where if it sounds too good to be true, it usually is. And that's the same thing with crypto. And what's interesting is, like in 2017, a lot of these projects exploded in the scenes, which made it seem unreal, like you couldn't pick something wrong. And then there's a lot of nefarious activity that got woven in there. And so it's the same caution that I think everyone needs to exercise here, is just, if it's too good to be true, it probably is. And so don't try to, think that you're going to get one up on the rest of the markets, because that's not what's happening behind the scenes.
Yeah. It's usually the FOMO kicking in, and people are just greedy, and that's usually how it ends up. Cool. Thanks for that. Now, how do you think scammers could be completely removed? Do you reckon there could be a way?
KYC.
Nice.
Because
best example.
So it's the simplest thing, right?
Yeah,
if you have to go through a KYC process and you're having to provide a passport, birthday on the passport, identification, then the only thing you're going to get is that, less than 1% who have fake passports and fake IDs, of which there will be people who have that. But the vast majority of people are going to have legitimate IDs. And, LinkedIn needs this.
Yeah.
Skype needs it. And, just about every social media platform, including Twitter, needs it, Discord, Slack. And the reason they need it is because they're not protecting their user communities, and they're not protecting us. And that's kind of their job. We're signing up to them as a service. We're relying on them to provide us a safe environment, and they're doing nothing to protect us. And I'm not talking about giving away our data to governments. And I know it's always a bit contentious, because we don't want to be giving out our private data and information and then finding out that that data got hacked, and that, Twitter may have lost the data or Google lost the data. That's, of course, the flip side to it. But if we want to have a safe environment, we need to have a KYC process so that we're being protected, and we could have badges on our names that says, hey, this guy's been KYC verified and this guy has not been. So if you're talking to Yuri Cataldo with the badge, and another Yuri Cataldo shows up without the badge, well, guess what? You immediately block the profile, kick him out.
Spot on.
Or if Yuri Cataldo with the badge is trying to ask me for some Bitcoin, I'll say, you know what? He's trying to scam me, and I could then report it, and then you guys could deal with it with the authorities. I mean,
and the police will knock at Yuri's door, like.
That's right.
I mean, it just creates an environment where people wouldn't need to do it. And I only want the environment to be safe. I don't like the idea of giving away my private information. I hate it. But how else can we create an environment where people feel safe to join and know that when they walk into a room, they're not going to be violated? We want people to feel safe, so we have to give them that feeling.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. Thank you, guys. That was really, really good. So now, before we move on to the final and special questions, I am going to ask you about your upcoming book. So please tell us all about it. How you started and when is it going to be released?
Well, the book is called Be Left Behind because we don't want people to be left behind in crypto. We have written the ultimate book for newbies who know nothing about crypto, who know a little bit about crypto, and who want to know how to get started, what is it, and what to do about it. And we've spent the better part of over a year writing it, rewriting it, getting picked up by a boutique publisher, and then really rewriting it to really make sure that we've got the right angles covered, and a lot of things that you'd expect to be in there are not in there.
Yeah.
Like smart contracts, and we don't talk about the DAO, and we don't talk about all these techie things that the average person doesn't get. But we want to create an environment for adoption. So that's my starting point. Yuri, jump in.
Yeah. So it's the book is it's a nice extension of what the original intent of our show was. And which was to educate people, like complete newbies, and explain it in a way that they can understand. And that was actually one of the things I loved about the most in the very beginning of our show, especially. We've evolved and expanded since then, but breaking down the technical aspects of it and just the technical speak for the average person who doesn't quite understand that. Because oftentimes when we think something is too complicated, we don't want to be involved. And I feel like that has been part of what's kept a lot of the average person out of the game in this way, just because there's a high barrier of entry.
Nice. Cool. So that's basically keeping it simple, just to put things short. Yeah.
And the book is called Be Left Behind. It'll be out in November. You can go to our website called BeLeftBehind.com, sign up there.
In the description of the video.
Yeah, you can put it down there as well. Great. So yeah, but there will be a giveaway that we're doing. So just by sharing, signing up and sharing, there'll be an opportunity to win a hardware wallet and
Ledger Nano.
Possibly, although we're talking to a couple of other companies about doing it, so we can't say who that is yet, but we're definitely working on a couple of cool things that we want to do so that we can encourage people to get a copy of the book for free, get access to a hardware wallet, and just get started. And it's a nice way to kind of create an environment where people can compete to try to win by getting free entries by just sharing, tweets and shares and signing up to our show. And just for doing that and helping us out and sharing the word, they're getting free entry tickets or points, whatever, into the competition to win. And the announcement for the winners will be done in December after the book launches.
Sounds great. Sounds great. Thank you for that. And now for the final question, the special question, which I ask every guest on my show, with the exception of John McAfee. Unfortunately, you know how it is. It's very, very hard to get time with him. So I'm going to start with you, Steve. What is one thing that you truly desire in life?
A cheesecake? No, you know what? The one thing I would really desire in life right now, and my friend Jeremy Austin is going to laugh when he hears this because he'll have to listen to this. Cheez-Its, because I can't get them over here in the UK or anywhere in Europe unless you pay like 3 times the price. And Yuri, when you come to Malta, please bring me some box of just the normal original Cheez-Its. They're these little orange snacks. They're super cheddary. They are the most amazing cheddar cheese crackers out there. And honestly, I love them. And I can just nibble on them all day long. They're not good for you, but I do love them. And I can't get them in Europe. So please bring me some Cheez-Its. So that's what I'm missing here.
Where do you find them? In Walmart?
No, you find, but you find them everywhere in the U.S. So that's what's the one thing in life I want. Right now, it's just craving Cheez-Its.
Okay, I'm gonna make a note of that for when I go to the U.S. Definitely, I'm gonna try them out. Cool, thanks. And Yuri,
didn't see that answer coming, did you?
I did not. Wow.
You left Yuri speechless now for his answer.
Totally.
Top that one off, baby.
Totally speechless. I can't top that one. But I will make sure I bring Cheez-Its with me when we head to.
Can we ask Yuri a different question just to kind of change it up a bit?
Oh, well, that's
go ahead.
Are you going to ask me? Wait.
I know. No, it's not my question. It's not my show. I was putting the pressure back on Crypto's Chain to come up with another question for you, Yuri, so you didn't have to think about it.
Come on, Yuri. Come on. You can do it. Answer.
The
rush hour.
I know. We're at the line right here. Because now all I can think of is food. And so the one food thing I really want right now, because I have to, again, I'm like bopping off of Steve here. There are these special coconut patties that I only got when I was in Key West, and that's what I've been craving lately. Is these they're called coconut patties. This is probably not the answer you're looking for at all.
Are they fish or what?
No, they're actual they're chocolate coconut patties, and they're like you can taste taste this fresh chocolate and fresh coconut. They're kind of like a Mounds bar, but like to the next level because they don't taste fake. They have a
more organic taste.
There is a much more organic taste, and again, I don't think this is what the answer you're looking for, but that's all I can think of now.
So the short answer to your question is that I went for savory and Yuri went for sweet.
That's it. Cool. Well, thank you very much for joining. Let us know, leave a comment below, and don't forget to like the video if you enjoyed it, and also check out the Coin Chat YouTube channel, which is also going to be in the description, as well as the link to the website for the book. Thank you very much, and I hope I'll see you in my next video. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.